In this video, we're going to learn how to classify a polynomial. That's the same as naming a one-variable polynomial. So we're going to look at this example. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to give you a chance to try this one on your own. Step one is to simplify it, and that means combine like terms. So what we're going to do is see which ones look alike. Let's see. I've got an x, a 4x, and a plus 7x. So 4 plus 7 would give me 11x. Out of those two terms, I can't combine them, so I would just rewrite them like so. Okay, so first step is to combine like terms. The second step is you need to arrange them in order from the largest exponent to the smallest exponent. So the number with the largest exponent is this 5x cubed. So I'm going to write that first. Okay, so I've used that term. The next smallest exponent would be this 11x. And so since it was a positive, I'm going to assume that's a positive 11x. So I've used that one. And then a negative 1 is just a constant number, so that's going to go at the end. Okay, so if you do not have any variables with a number, that is always going to be at the end because it's just a constant. Okay, so I've got this in order now. Now I need to identify the degree, and the degree is the exponent, okay? So here is my largest exponent, so the degree is a 3. Okay, so now I need to name it based on that degree. So if the degree is 0, so this is if there's no variable. That would be a constant. If the degree is 1, it's linear. So if you just have a 1x. If it is quadratic, it's x squared. If it's cubic, it's to the third. Quartic, think about 4 quarters. And then quintic is 5. I think of quintuplets because you have 5 kids. So since our thing was an x cubed, our degree was a 3, that makes this a cubic. Okay, so that is a cubic based on its degree. You also have to base it off of the number of terms. So terms are how many numbers are up there, kind of. So here is 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms. So I have 3 terms. And that would mean it is a trinomial. Okay. A way to remember that is tri, like a tricycle has 3 wheels. Bi is a bicycle, which has 2 wheels. And if it does not have, or if there's only 1 term, that's called a monomial. And then if it has more than 4 terms, you just call it a polynomial. So if it's got 4 terms, 5 terms, 6 terms, we just call it a polynomial because poly means many. Okay? So then you're going to combine the 2 words to name it. And we put the degree first. So your final name for this would be a cubic trinomial. Okay? So that is how you classify polynomials. So I want you guys to try this one on your own. See as far as you can get, but press pause and try it on your own. This one was a bit tricky because you had to combine a lot of terms. So I combined a 3x squared and a 12x squared and got 15x squared. When you combine a negative 6, a positive 8, and a negative 2, you would get 0x. And if you get 0x, that means you do not need to write it. So notice I did not write plus 0x. Okay? Then I just had that negative 8 on the end that I brought down. So now I had 15x squared minus 8. The good thing was that was already in order because x squared was the highest exponent. So a shortcut is if you start combining the like term with the highest exponent, that will automatically put it in order for you. Next thing you need to do is look at the degree. The degree was a 2, which makes it a quadratic. The number of terms, there was 1 term and 2 terms. So there are 2 terms, which makes it a binomial. So when I put those 2 words together, that is going to be a quadratic binomial. Okay? So if I had that 0x there, that would have made me write trinomial, and so that's why, again, if you have 0x, it's going to disappear and we do not write it. Okay? So feel free to use this for some notes. Again, you can practice on your own. So let's look at the bottom problems. So I want you guys to try these on your own. So try 1 through 6. I want you to combine like terms and write it in standard form, and then give me the name of the polynomial. So press pause, and we'll go over the answers. So on number 1, I could not combine like terms because the exponents were different. So to write them in order or standard form, you're going to write that negative 2y squared first, and then add that 5y on the end. You've got two terms, so that's why it's a binomial, and then that exponent of 2 means quadratic. Okay, on number 2, it was already in standard form, and I didn't have to combine any like terms. So again, when q is a 1, that makes it linear because it looks like the equation of a line. And then it had two terms, so it was binomial. So linear binomial. On number 3, I had to write x squared first, followed by negative 3x, and then plus 4. Couldn't combine like terms, and so the 2 would give me a quadratic, and there are 3 terms, so trinomial. On number 4, you could combine like terms with that 6x squared and negative 13x squared to get negative 7x squared, and then you cannot combine those terms since they both didn't have a variable, so I rewrote them over here. So again, that 2 means quadratic, and then 3 would mean trinomial. On this one, I boxed negative 3c7. I made a mistake. That was not supposed to be a 7. It was supposed to be a 5. But in this case, what you could say is it's a 7th degree because that degree was a 7. And then again, I combined the 3c and subtracted 3c cubed from it and got a positive 5c. And I re-brought that c over here. There were 3 terms, so it was trinomial. On number 6, I couldn't combine anything, so I started off with the highest exponent first and write it over here, followed by the second highest exponent was the 2, followed by negative 5z on the end. Couldn't combine anything. That 4, think of 4 quarters, 4 quartic, and then 3 terms was a trinomial. So again, quartic and quadratic, since they both start with a q, is kind of hard to remember. So again, I think of quad as you have 2 quads, because those are like your legs. Your quad muscles are on the top of your legs. So think about it like you've got 2 quads, and then 4 is going to be the quart, because think of quarters. Okay, so those are the 2 that you might get switched up a lot. Okay, so now it is time to practice with some lovely IXL or some paper copies. In Algebra 1 on IXL, it's Z1 and Y1. I want you to get as close to 100 as you can. And then I want you to actually go ahead onto Algebra 2. So you're going to have to change the grade level to Algebra 2, and it's actually K1 under Algebra 2. So again, you only have to get that one to about a 90, okay? So thanks for watching, and get started practicing.